Where's Noel? Is he in the house?
Not yet. He's coming though. He said he was coming. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to our kickoff, our what is it, fourth season of Kitchen Table Talks? I think it's fourth season of Kitchen Table Talks. We're streaming onto YouTube and all the rest of the things today. So it's nice to see everybody after this summer. And holy cow, a lot of things have happened over the summer. Short list: Alberta goes into digital IDs. Nova Scotia's pushing digital IDs. No going into the forests for Canadians. Fire bans and $25,000 fines. Major project office is the only thing Mark Carney's done since the last time we've talked, and he didn't even really do that. Trump's behaving like Trump. I think there's a big civil war brewing in the United Kingdom. Castle laws, and people can break into your house and attack you with a weapon. And if you defend yourself, buddy, you're going to jail. So there's crazy. It's been a crazy summer. How are you guys doing? It's nice to see you all. MC, you get to go first, just because you laughed.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was in the big city the other day, and this is where people are at. I was at a place I hadn't been to before, Chick-fil-A, and it's so awesome. Like, well, they have chicken burgers. Okay. Okay. So, but they gave me a paper straw. So I went up to ask for a plastic straw, and the guy said they didn't have plastic straws. And I said, tell your supervisor, I'm never coming back here again because of this paper straw.
Yep.
And when I went over to the garbage can to throw away the paper straw, there was a guy standing there, a little bit younger than me, with his kid, and he said, got to get used to it. And I said, no, I don't. I don't have to get used to it. If someone hands me a turd, I'm not going to eat it. Yep. And a couple of things to correct about the show today. I'm not coming down here or anything. Here is can you see me?
I can see you, but you're kind of frozen, but your voice is not frozen. So
okay. Well, I'm holding in my hand a magazine for a rifle.
Okay.
And this magazine was sold to me in Canada. So although if it was sold to me in America, it would have a 40 round capacity. But because it was sold in Canada, what they do is they put a rivet with a pin in it.
Really?
And so it stops it from going down. So you can only fit 5 rounds into it.
So the big long mag that I showed you really only and said that this is an illegal gun because it carries too many is actually compliant, and that's how they're sold. Potentially.
Except you said that the guy said he heard 12 shots. So if he heard 12 shots out of it without reloading, then it was obviously not compliant.
Now, can you take that pin out? Like, is that pin something that you could remove if you wanted to remove it and you were motivated to?
I can't speculate legally about the possibility of removing that pin.
But if I was a motivated guy with a file or something like that, I could probably make it so that pin didn't prevent me from adding more rounds, probably.
Yeah, and if you could see me, if my camera was working right now instead of frozen, you would see me nodding my head.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Right. So it's just a guideline, is what you're telling me. Yeah.
Well, it's so they comply with the law, right?
Well, right. Yeah. Interesting. So it's kind of bullshit window dressing.
Yes.
Seems like Canada.
Yeah. We're full of bullshit window dressing. The other thing is that when they were talking about driver's licenses for Indians, the AZ license that guy was talking about, I'm pretty sure means an Arizona license, like a state of Arizona driver's license.
No, there's a class, the AZ class, right?
That's a class in Ontario?
I'm pretty sure.
Here it's called Class 1.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like getting an AZ license is what you get in Ontario. Getting it's AZ license. That's what it is.
I thought it was an abbreviation for the state of Arizona.
No.
Because last time I rented a U-Haul, it had Arizona license plates, and that was in Calgary.
Oh yeah, there's some tax reason for that. They're all like, yeah. I knew about that, but no, that's AZ license is just what a trucking license is called. In like
really?
There's a B license, there's G1, G2, M1, M2. There's DZ in Ontario, says Steve, and then AZ is the bigger one too, right? Like so DZ.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
that's way too many.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, you can get like just an A-class license. You can get just a B-class license if you're a bus driver. And then there's C and D-class license, but the AZ is everything, right?
I've got Good heaven.
Right. Yeah, it's terrible. But I mean, how many bridge strikes in Ontario, right? Way less than Vancouver. So we're doing something right.
And the other thing is, about a month ago, I had this idea, but it needs a team of writers and someone with nothing else to do.
Fair.
So you get the person with nothing else to do to change their name legally to Mark Carney, and then you set up a company that has a position with the job title of prime minister, and then you just start hammering the mainstream media with press releases. Like Prime Minister Mark Carney says Donald Trump smells bad. And Prime Minister Mark Carney dares China to increase agricultural tariffs even more.
I think you could just do this with a website. I think you could just. I don't think you need the company or anything like that. You could just do it with a website.
Well, wouldn't you need an actual Prime Minister Mark Carney to say these things?
Not these days.
Use Grok.
Nope, probably not. I don't think so at all. You could just say it. You could just do it. But it would lend credibility if you're adding actual official press releases. But at the same time, people would have to pay attention, and they'd quickly lose. Right? They'd realize the grift, what was going on, fast.
I think you could get a couple days out of it before the mainstream media wised up.
Maybe, but I don't know how far your fake things would go. But I got to move on. Bill's got his hand up, and thank you for saying it. Bill.
Yeah, he could put an X account up and just have it as a parody account. He'd still probably get just as much mileage, if not more, out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just got to find a title for it, right?
Indeed. Put up a blog. Put up a blog.
Yeah.
It'd be worthwhile.
But yeah, just to double down on what MC was saying, the rifles, were all legit. The Type 81 wasn't banned until March of 25. And yeah, I was looking for jump cuts, and definitely that dude put out at least 12 rounds. And yeah, drilling out a pin, because that's all it would be. That's all it would take. And I mean, mag limits are retarded anyways. Like,
yes.
I'm old enough and owned enough guns back in the past that I had 40 round not AR mags, Ruger M14 mags in that. And big deal. Half the time you only put 4 or 5 rounds in anyways. Like, you're doing a 30 or 40 round mag dump, man. Like, that's bad.
It seems, well, I don't like the idea of Indian guys coming out and shooting off guns in Muskoka. Like, that seems like a weird.
That's another point. Like, they were not like, I mean, yes, it's Crown land and you can shoot on Crown land, but you
Is that
should
bridge
have
Crown land?
a backstop and a safe backstop, unless Ontario's different. I know some of the far eastern provinces, now that might have changed too, but they were really restrictive on where you could shoot. Alberta, as long as, and again, if you got to have a safe backstop and this and that, but you can shoot on Crown land.
Sure. I'm not even worried about the Crown land. They shot up all the bridge infrastructure and.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Is that you don't go around shooting bridges, don't go around shooting people's houses, don't shoot traffic signs.
Yeah. Well, that seems like common sense, but then we've got these guys coming in, and that's not happening. And it seems almost like they're brandishing and it's not like we're flouting your laws. It's almost like we're a force and we're going to F you up and give us our Kalistani,
Exactly.
section of land or whatever. And I feel uneasy about it.
I was at a range executive meeting the other night, and we were going over some videos of some things that go on in the range. Like, we have like video up all over the place, just so we don't have to have ROs and stuff and this and that. And we see all sorts of crazy stuff like that, and
That's
usually
wild.
from the same type of people.
Yeah.
But dumping rounds into the water, like, how much sense does that make, man? Like, it's
they were shooting. There's a lot of people that would just go out and just randomly shoot rocks and do this and do that. They probably threw cans in there or bottles or something.
Yeah, I saw beer bottles they were using as targets floating, and I thought that was weird. Like, isn't that going to do something bad to the? I don't know.
Well, it's more about just doing mag dumps, really, and that's about it. Like, you go all into the psychology of what these donkeys are doing, but whether they be whatever, I don't care. I've seen a lot of dummies showing up on the range of all colors, creeds, and stripes, and this and that, doing just absolute jackass stuff.
Yeah,
and
pooping on the beach. It's almost like the pooping on the shooting up the bridge is the pooping on the beach of 2025. You know what I mean? It seems weird.
Well, or live out in the country and drive down any back road for the last 100 years. And you'll see all sorts of signs shot out and stuff. So it's all across the board.
I guess so. Again, I don't mind kids or guys going out and shooting stuff in the bush. I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me so much. But it seems weird to do it on bridges and into water. It seems like a very, very strange thing. It seems performative almost. Like, look at what we're doing. F you guys.
That's pretty much it. It's like, this is our firepower. This is what we got. You watch the end of the video, and the guy's rolling around the hood there with his WK-180 on his in the front seat of his car with him, and that. And I'm just going like, that's basically intimidation stuff, man.
Yeah,
Like, that's exactly what that is.
it's not so good. Very concerning. Thanks, Bill. MC.
Yeah, here in Alberta, driving around the oil field, what I notice all the time is people go out and they shoot the signs. There's signs at every lease that says like where you are and everything, where the well is and stuff like that. And those get shot up all the time. But the thing about these guys, like, they're going and shooting a bridge, right? Shooting infrastructure, and no one I know has ever thought of like, let's throw bottles in the water and shoot those. Like, that's littering. Here is the thing. It seems like people from a certain part of the world don't care about cleanliness at all. They say that the Ganges River is their like holiest body of water, right? In their religion and everything like that. Here's this really holy body of water. When you see videos of it, it's freaking filthy and full of garbage. And then shit on the beach, shit on the sidewalk, go shoot garbage in the middle of nowhere and leave it in the water.
Yeah.
Like, go home.
The Ganges thing is odd to me, because like, this seems like an obvious conflict. Like, if you find cows sacred, eating a hamburger is weird, and you don't necessarily see lots of Indians walking around eating hamburgers. A lot of them are vegetarian. But then if you find the Ganges River sacred, why are you making it full of garbage? Why do you do that? These two things are in conflict. I don't understand. And again, I don't understand the culture, but I don't want our rivers being junked up because, for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, it doesn't make any sense to me. And so we are left in a lurch, because
yes. And we're trying to be clean with regulations and stuff like that, and we're still allowing some pretty disgusting stuff to go into our waterways. But it's not the Ganges River, right, with like diapers floating by or whatever.
Yet.
This isn't India, and I don't give a poop what you do in India and crap on your beach and shoot up your bridges and stuff. But last time I looked at that video, and maybe I'm just out of the loop, but handguns aren't allowed outside of a range and outside of your house. He had a handgun, and it was pointed at the buddy's back. Yes, in one of the stills of that video, there was a handgun.
I didn't see the handgun.
And straight up, it was pointed to one of the guy's back as he looked over the bridge. Right? You should be able to find these people because they are pals or pals, and you should be able to identify them by their pal to the video. This should not be hard for the government. This should be like, well, let's run AI, let's run the bloody facial recognition and take that video and figure out who those owners are and strip them of every right that they have or they think they have and get them out of this country. Because that right there is the nonsense. The nonsense that is going to cause a lot more nonsense in this country.
Yep, that's true, man. But you know how many?
Sorry to be heated and agitated.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But like, man,
do you know how many?
I'm very sorry to be heated and agitated, but that is the BS that we've been saying for years. That hey, they pass their criminal checks and they pass their background checks because I'm sure they did and somebody looked at it. But this is what they do because their culture does not blend.
It seems that what you're saying is accurate. It seems that that's true. We're having some big difficulties. Yeah,
I was at work. A little bit of a difficulty. Here is somebody from India at my work, right? And he's sitting here talking to this attractive white woman as she is working and pushing down the hall a heavy tool. Do you think he cared to even ask if she needed help pushing the tool? No. As I'm walking down the hallway, What does this guy do? He won't even open the door for the woman. I see what's going on. I open the door for her, and she says, "Thank you very much." And I look at him. I said, "And why can't you open the door for a woman? What's wrong with you?" There's an incompatibility with culture, and they have a different idea about guns. Guns are welcome at weddings and to shoot off in the air and stuff like that. We don't need that mentality here at all, especially about one of the most pivotal. I'm not going to say pivotal. It's a real sore spot between people that are from the rural country and people that live in the city, right? The firearm is the thing that defines the between, and we can't have idiots like that. I don't care what race, creed, culture, anything, running around and being egregiously obtuse with what they're doing. That's it.
They seem to be flippant, and there's no arrests have been made yet. And it seems like if it was you and me and MC standing around firing off guns,
they would have me identified our pal or POL or POL or PAL. They would have me identified in a blip. Why can't they identify them?
Because they don't. Because they don't want to. That's
hidden. Why. They were blatantly obvious, and then they posted it on social media. That right there, we don't need that in our country.
But our government is
we don't need that in our jails.
Our government's encouraging it.
Because all that's going to do is encourage, and it's an intimidation tactic. They're saying, look what we got, look what we can do. We used your system to gain this.
Yep.
And then as what Bill's saying, they show videos of them driving around with them.
Yep.
I just hope the cops pick them up. And I don't want to say, I hope the cops do something about this, because will they? They should have already had them.
I don't think they will. Shouldn't be. That's the problem.
Day 4.
Yeah.
This should be, bam, you have facial recognition, figure it out, bottom line. And if it's one guy and he has all these guns and he's bringing his buddies out to do this, then hang him harder.
Yeah.
By the toes, onto the airplane, don't pass go, get out of here.
I hear
and then
you.
all of his buddies, the same old thing.
I hear you. Thank you. We got lots of people who's got their hands up, so we got to go through that. But thanks, Noel. And yeah, it is a pretty crazy situation. And I think I was talking to you, MC, before Noel came in, but we'll get back to you, MC, in just a minute. Steve first, then MC, then Max, then Bill. Steve.
Okay, I'll be quick. 38-minute mark of your show today. You spoke of Brookfield and SNC.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I was in Ottawa. I was working for SNC operations and maintenance, 2012-ish to 2015. The Gaddafi thing and the yachts and the hotel and the condo and all that fiasco, you know all about it. Guy ran to Switzerland, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess who took that contract over after they kicked out 72 buildings, i.e. the military NDHQ where I worked, 72 buildings in the Ottawa area, 4,640 employees,
Brookfield.
and 72 buildings. BGIS, you know who that is?
Brookfield.
Used to be Brookfield Johnson Controls, changed their name because of that, right? And then they gave us tablets and they wanted to supervise every single call that you made. It would have taken me 2 hours to change a ballast in a building. It's just supreme control.
Wow.
And they offered them a bump and better RSP and stole the 4,636 employees. And they just put it on a new jersey and they went back to work.
Crazy.
I took the layoff.
Yeah.
I took the layoff.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, man. This is like cultural espionage. I'm not going to be part of it. So I didn't offer my skills or anything to those people because they're just as bad as the other ones. So I jumped out.
There's a lot of
and
crossover.
that's my ear to the, you know me, ear to the ground. I only speak the truth of what I saw. And I was part of that, and I watched it happen. So, yeah, good on you for bringing that up. Thank you.
Crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's part of history, and I feel like people don't connect what's happening now to what just happened. Like 10 years ago, it just happened. You know what I mean? Like even what's happened from 1980 to now, which is like 40,
That's right.
years.
That's right. I can go on
incredible.
I can go on about BC forest fires when I was a tree planter and brusher.
Yeah.
And you know, they're tagging all this spraying and stuff. Well, we used to have this golf club that was like a serrated like a weed whacker type thing, but we didn't bring gas ones because of fire bans and shit like that. You had to do it all manually with a golf club and cut a circle around the tree a year or two after. So you got to know the planter's diamond rotation. I was a planter, so I know. And you made good money at it. And it supplied tons of youth, all strong people. Tons of people from Ontario, all over Canada, went and did the coastal range and did BC and did Ontario as well.
I know tree planters. Yeah.
Okay, at any rate, the brushing contracts were fairly lucrative, and it was, $300-$400 a day. Sometimes planting you could make $5-$6. Back in the day, I'm talking, right? 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, I jumped out of that when I didn't become a young man anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it was available and it was there. Also, it created a bunch of forestry protection because you had all these boots on the ground and eyes, right? Yep. So it was good for everybody. So I wanted to tag that as well and say, look how things have changed. I don't really understand that.
Yeah. Well, they've taken control. I was just going to say, SNC Lavalin was kind of a Trudeau crony giveaway. So Trudeau had friends at SNC Lavalin. So if the government has a big contract, he's going to call his friends at SNC Lavalin. So it seems like a rite of passage for a prime minister to have a foundation, Trudeau Foundation. Does Carney have a Carney Foundation? I'm sure he's got a foundation somewhere. Maybe he'll just use the Clinton Foundation.
You're missing the gap with Brookfield and SNC Lavalin. Guy Moose on the Loose does a big gap, but he's missing that gap there. And if somebody did the homework, I could go on and on and on. It's just boring. We have a small show here. Yeah. But there's a huge correlation, and if you looked into it, it all ties back to Laurentian elites, a lot of Quebec industry, and it ties into all those big wigs running from SNC. And where'd they go?
Brookfield, I bet.
Thank you. Where else? They went to Goldman Sachs and a bunch of banks and world bankers and started something different. Okay, changed the name.
Which is exactly what happened. Which is exactly what happened at the end of the Second World War too. The people.
That's what they did.
They ran.
Still the same people.
They yes. It's the down generation of that same ideology, and they ran out of the countries and into the supranational agencies, into the WHO, into the United Nations, into all of these things that are supposed to be above countries that are supposed to be fighting for peace. And look where that's gotten us. We've got Indians firing off their firepower in Muskoka, and it's like, oh, okay, guys, hold on.
In the 50s, there was a term called bottlenecking, and if you look it up and follow that, it's pretty crazy. Anyway, that's all where I'll lead it. We got lots of topics.
Thanks, Steve. MC.
Well, you're right. If white people had made that video, all their stuff would have been confiscated by now. They would have been right on
Jail.
it. The other thing I'll say is Bill's right about backstops. Don't shoot in the air. Like those bullets come down somewhere and they go for a couple miles.
Yep.
You get if you live in the city and you shoot in the air, you're probably going to kill someone. That's a terrible idea.
It happened in there were some Indian guys doing an Indian wedding in Mississauga, and they were shooting in the air and they got in trouble and there was a video of it and they didn't actually get arrested though. Did you hear about? Do you remember this?
I remember that.
2 years ago, 23 maybe.
Yeah.
It's November 23. It's crazy, man. Nobody cares. It's like, oh man, don't pay attention to the Indian guys firing off weapons in the air. It's fine.
Well, life is safe in India, right?
Sorry,
you got
in Turkey. In Turkey, 2 people have been killed by wedding bullets in the last week.
Awful.
Because it's very common in Turkey to do this wedding gunshot bullet barrage, and in the last week, 2 people have been killed, and one of them was the groom. Really? Imagine how brutal that is. And it was the sister-in-law, the bride's wife, that let the bullets off that killed the groom.
The bride's sister. Terrible. That's terrible.
Brides, and
maybe it was an accident. Maybe it wasn't.
Well, no. By all accounts, it was totally an accident. But the bullets got to come down somewhere.
Yeah. Were they driving away and they'd gotten a couple miles down the road and then she just let off? And...
Damn it.
No. She was straight up into the air, and about 30 seconds later, the groom drops dead with a bullet in his head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely don't shoot straight up either.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Into the air is one thing, but straight up is just in a crowd, I'm just going to shoot straight up? Are you
Happy
nuts?
Wedding, everybody.
Straight up at a wedding crowd, bud. This is
Yeah.
Again,
What
other
can you
cultures
say?
and guns don't mesh with Canadian culture and guns.
Yeah. Well,
They don't.
Yeah. Wow. MC, you were saying something and then I couldn't hear you. And then it kind of there's cacophony.
I said life is cheap in India, I guess.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. And Turkey too, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, and Turkey.
Yikes.
Too many people.
Yeah. Oh. Thanks, MC. Max.
I know we've already touched on it, but I wanted to reiterate is that if these were like say a bunch of good old boys doing this, they would be in jail. Probably Mark Carney would be like prosecuting him right now as we speak.
It would be a hate crime. It would be a hate crime.
Exactly, be a hate crime.
Yeah.
And like this just goes to show how broken we are as a nation.
Yes.
Where, like it's too weird. And like look in Quebec. That's not gonna like that new prayer legislation.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be used against Islamists.
I agree.
I know that for sure. We all know that for sure, man.
Yep.
It just shows like how broken this country is, and there's really no path to fixing it.
No, I agree. I agree definitely. And yeah, there's double standards. Yeah, if this was me and Noel and MC out there shooting away, we'd already have got. I mean, you're right. Mark Carney would be celebrating. We'd be hate criminals.
There'd be new gun control legislation if this Parliament's back.
The whole deal.
I guarantee it.
And it's not about safety, and it never was, right? Like it's about this double standard that is being enshrined, and it's very, very open. It's not hidden, and it's so open now that people are having a problem with it, but not effectively solving the solution. Like
I can give an example of like a problem with it. I don't know if Knowles has been following this, but in Halifax, there's been cases of like women being sexually assaulted by a certain ethnicity of cab drivers around the downtown area. Really? And I wonder which ethnicity that is.
It happens after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Because everyone's downtown. Like, yeah, in the clubs, especially in like that like downtown Halifax area. I can name exactly where like I know it's happened from like stories and also just word of mouth.
Interesting.
And like nobody's talking about that. But it's like people are afraid to like get cabs now, at least like downtown. I haven't been downtown, but I know people that like are and have heard it from word of mouth. But there's silence on that, and there's probably not going to be anything said about it because what does it matter? It's like it's happening to white people.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I hate to hijack, but like Max, it's the same thing that happened when those 9 Syrian men beat those 2 lesbians for kissing in public last August. I think
that was
Nothing ever happened to that. They never found them. They never tried to find them. They tried to shame the lesbians for being affectionate in public. And then the story died.
Yep.
Right. There was no justice there. Nope. There was no accountability there. There was no immigration minister saying, "Oh, gee, I'm really sorry. We should look at this." There was nothing.
Yep. And there's not going to be anything. There's not even backlash. I want to talk about the United Kingdom, but I also want to talk about digital ID. Like with regards to there's no backlash, there's no real anything. The government doesn't want to do anything. And I think that there's an analogy in what's happening in the United Kingdom. People have woken up and they're upset about what's going on, but they're not effective. The protests aren't having the government change anything. Keir Starmer just put out a thing.
It doesn't matter because the judges are corrupt.
They're all corrupt.
Like,
the whole court system is corrupt.
Like, on your show the other day.
Yeah. The rights of the asylum seekers are more important than the rights of the British public who are supporting the asylum seekers in 5-star hotels. How does that make any sense?
Who is that judge? Who is that judge to have that power to say that people that aren't British have lesser than the people that are people that aren't more than the people that are British? I mean, where does that say that in the law?
Oh, well, the Compact for Migration, right? The United Nations, Canada wrote the Compact for Migration, and the Compact for Migration went through, and people signed on to it, and so that's where it is in the law, or one of the things in the law. They cited a specific thing, the ECH7 or something like ECHS7 or something like that. There's 4 letters in it. but there's some kind of legal thing, but it's the same bullshit legal thing. I think Trudeau signed some piece of paper that said Canada has some kind of obligation for Ukraine, but we don't. Like, we don't have an obligation.
Outlaw paper.
Yeah. I mean, outlaw paper. Outlaw idiots being in charge of our government. Outlaw traitors being in charge of our government. It's ridiculous. It's crazy that our government is basically running the invasion of our country and telling us to shut up about it, and we can't do anything about it, apparently. It's wild. And that's happening in England. Thanks, Noel.
It's going to reach a boiling point. I think it's going to reach a boiling point.
That's what we're watching in England right now. And we're watching if they can manage England through that, we're kind of effed. If England doesn't change course based on what's happening right now in Epping, and this just goes away again, I don't know that I have much faith in this whole solution. Did you see
I saw the other day. I think the Polish were patrolling their own border.
Yeah, Poland and
for illegal migrants.
Yeah, Poland and Hungary are kind of breaking with the EU, but they have been for a while. They've got they're not allowed to deport people, but they've got a fence where you're in Hungary, but you haven't entered, or Poland, but you haven't entered the country yet. So there's a 2-phase fence. So they keep them between, and they can leave whenever they want, but they just can't get past this one fence. But they're in Hungary, and they're just listen, we have no responsibility for you, go away. And they keep trying to get in. And that was kind of boiling point a few years ago. And then the EU keeps charging Hungary, I think, daily, maybe monthly. I don't know if it's a daily charge or whatever, but it's supposed to be $1 million. I think it's $1 million a day. And so they're doing that because they're refusing to take in migrants, but they're refusing to take in migrants because it's a bad effing idea and it's destroying the West, and they're not afraid to say it. And I guess for whatever reason, those two countries are insulated and haven't been taken over by Ursula von der Leyen and her merry crew of insane people.
Well, I mean, look at the history of say Poland. You think they're really going to let another nation tell them what to do again?
Right. Yeah, man.
In general?
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. There's definitely a historical learning that is impacting what's going on right now. But Jeepers Creepers, there's a lot of pressure points, and it seems like the currency's buying power is absolutely ridiculous. They want to bring in a digital ID, right? And so when the currency's buying power is gone because the country has spent money like drunken sailors for the last 50 years, and we refuse to acknowledge the problem to solve it, and we say to the government to help us because the money's useless now, what do we do? They say the only solution is communism. We're sorry. Wear your mask, get your vax, get your booster, and then you can have your cricket bread and not starve. That's the kind of power they want, and I'm very concerned. So Alberta's digital ID, Nova Scotia's digital access to social media, you have to prove your age. Have you guys been watching all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's being tabled by one of two liberals.
Yeah, liberal in Nova Scotia, and
but Houston doesn't care. He banned people from going in the woods, for God's sakes. It doesn't matter to him.
Two-tone Timmy don't have no spine, and yeah, we got this half of a woods ban now on there, Max.
Yeah. I know. Good. I'm just saying.
You can go in the woods now. But I'm not allowed to go in the woods. And you know what starts tomorrow? Hunting season. And you know what's not going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. No politician's going to stop anybody from putting meat in their freezer, because if you go between some arbitrary law and meat in your freezer, you're taking your meat in your freezer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
All day long.
Hunting season starts. Sorry, there were 4 people who had hands up, and then hands went down. So apologies about that.
For cutting in. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I introduced a new topic too. I didn't mean to. So Bill, sorry, you got your hand up. Thanks, Max and Noel and everybody else. Bill.
Yeah, the last few minutes, basically what started all this. There was a time when the cops in Britain were unarmed and the civilians were all armed to the teeth. In Canada, until this last century, there wasn't really any gun bans or anything along this. Well, not this last century, the century before.
Yeah, 90s, right?
The United States is actually taking strides forward under Trump to actually free their people even more. And even in Alberta, as much as, and I'm a big supporter of enhanced driver's license. I can't wait to get my new hard copy healthcare card. The rest of the digital stuff, to be honest, it's been around for years. I go hunting, and then every fall I have to go online to see how my harvest went or this or that. I think, and with the driver's licenses, there was some issues last election. I heard that there was supposedly some ID issues with people voting. So it was brought up that an enhanced driver's license in Alberta with citizen notation on it, so that way they're not getting overrun and confused, and to her credit, getting rid of the paper ballot, or getting paper ballots here and that. Yeah, like, and I'll go even further back on the gun thing here again, just briefly. That's the problem with all this legislation and the federal government naming firearms in the criminal code and all this other garbage. All we need is background checks like they have in the States. And if the FBI did their job, that would be efficient as can be. So you can own whatever you want. You can carry whatever you want, have real self-defense rights. A firearm is a tool, nothing else. It's not a scary monster. Like, but you can't also have people coming in, like we've been saying, that don't embrace our culture. I remember when I was a kid, you didn't shoot at stuff unless you had a safe backstop. And sometimes we screwed up, and sometimes we got a good beating for it. You know what I mean? Like, I look at all the legislation, I look at all the regulations, this whole big push now on castle law and everything else. Well, I can tell you historically, I've been there more than once, and no government's going to legislate me saving my family or myself. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's just unfortunate if you get arrested afterwards because somebody
I'll
broke into your house.
I'll take the beef. To be honest, I'll take the beef.
Yeah.
I'll do the time. I could care less.
Yep.
But in the meantime, nobody's going to mess with my family, and I don't care what tools I need to use to save them.
Yep. No, I agree there. Definitely. Thanks, Bill. Scott.
How's the volume? Is this good?
Good. Yeah, you're good.
Mike or David Betts, B-E-T-Z, a military science professor in England, was talking about the chances of insurrection because that was one of his fields as a military historian. He understands and has given lectures to governments on insurrection. What are the conditions for insurrection? He says England is well past the point.
Oh, yeah.
Why I watch England is because we have a parliamentary system. They have a parliamentary system. The Canadian government doesn't want to admit it, but the majority of the input of people in Canada were originally English. So, all the loyalists and that came. That's what made Ontario, was the loyalists being dumped into Canada. So I watched that for that. By the way, the child with the axe and the knife, her name is Lola Moir, M-O-I-R. Something you might find interesting here for Canada, there's the Apocalypse broadcast, which is people do broadcasts of the possible future, zombie apocalypse, surviving. So there's a guy who claims to be Dave Eddington, former reporter for CBC, now living in the mountains of Okanagan Valley. It's 2030, and he starts off, he's running his radio off of solar power. Anyways, he gives his version of how Canada ended in 2030, just fucking collapsed. And he says it started really in 2022 with the housing bubble beginning to collapse, and it just fell from there. So if you want to check it out, that's what it's called, the Apocalypse broadcast, Canada's collapse. That's it. Dave Eddings for information as to logically why England is going to pop. We're going to pop too, but it's not going to be like England because we're too separated. And the Khalistanis and the Hindis are going to have the guns, and they're going to shoot us. And that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think I don't think that's far off. That's what I mean when they're doing. It's like a show of force when they're praying in front of the Catholic churches.
We are fucking cooked, bud. We are fucking cooked. We are cooked. There's no way out of this. This country is fucked, and we're all living in it. Anybody who can get out should get the fuck out.
Where
Like
to, though?
Scott
Do you
Adams
think
says, get the fuck out.
Where do you go?
that's my question? Where do you go? Because that's
Mars, go to fucking
Go-
Mars, man.
that's
Go to fucking
false,
Mars.
man.
Because this country's
where else?
fucked and there's no saving it. We're fucked.
Where else? Yeah, no, I hear you. I asked my brother, or I asked somebody, like, when did we start using cooked? And it's very recently.
It's early internet slang.
I guess so, but it seems like dinner's.
It's the internet slang.
Yeah, but it's like dinner's cooked. Like we're cooked, right? Like it's.
No,
We're
it's
over.
in
We're
relation
done.
to the frog.
Oh yeah, the boiling frog is cooked. Is that what it is?
Nobody's getting
I know.
deported, eh?
I know that.
Nobody's
Yeah.
getting deported. We're already past our
So what
course
if-
for the fucking year, and we're halfway into the fucking year. Nobody's getting deported. Nothing's getting fixed. We're gonna have to fight each other in the fucking streets.
Nothing ever happens.
I'm sharpening. I'm sharpening my what the shiv. Yeah, I'm sharpening my shiv starting now. Thanks, Scott. No, I believe I don't disagree at all. I look at what's happening, and I look at the apathy of most Canadians. They don't even know what's going on. They know that milk is more expensive. They know that other things are more expensive, and they blame Donald Trump. And I think to myself, how? But and I'm not even saying that.
Invisible enemy.
Well, he's the catch-all enemy that everybody can blame, I guess. But it's just one of those things where, man, we have so many problems, and I think the bad guy is really obvious. Like, to the point of he looks like Mr. Burns, for crying out loud. And everybody's everybody's like, oh, it's that U.S. guy. That's what the problem is in Canada. No, absolutely not. It's just wild. Anyway, thank you, Scott. I think we were talking to you, and MC, you're up.
Well, it's a bit of a tangent, but Bill mentioned driver's licenses. So first of all, we have to get the corruption out of our driver's license issuing agencies.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep.
Right? Like, get rid of all the button. Like, I saw a gravel truck pull up the other day and 5 brown guys got out of it.
Yep.
Because it had a sleeper, right? But everyone also should have to redo their road test every 5 years. Every time it comes up for renewal, redo your road test, and then hopefully you won't get the same corrupt guy that let you through last time, and at least you'll only get 5 years before you get taken off the roads. Mm-hmm. But also, they say, if your friend Jeff jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? As it turns out, almost everyone would jump off a bridge if the government told them to.
Yes.
Sure would. And here in Alberta, I think that's why they're building a lot more traffic circles. So how do we get the government to start that program of getting people to jump off bridges? Like, do they have to put a check in the river or something? Like,
yeah, no. Well, you have to make asking how deep the water is something that's verboten. That only stupid people do, right? And then you can then tell people to jump off the bridge, because you don't want them checking how deep that water is before they jump, because that might prevent them from jumping. Got to make sure. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Thanks, MC. Max?
I guess to cycle back to the Alberta wallet, my concern is we know nothing about. I know Mark can understand where I'm coming from because I'm cool for IT, but we know nothing about the say code base and how information is stored, where it's stored, how it's processed, and the government seemingly isn't telling us. It's just trust us, guys, because we've never lied to you before.
Yep.
And I think if you actually want to have a good faith argument about this, maybe show us and explain how your info is being stored. But it's not going to happen, even though it's seemingly fine right now. It's still a slippery slope.
Yep.
And we've seen how far we can slip. Just look at COVID.
Yep.
It's that easy.
And when they get the infrastructure in place and all the money behind it and all the people who are bilking off of the infrastructure and money behind it, like the Arrive scam thing, when they get all that running, it runs itself.
Economy in itself.
Yeah, it does. And it just propagates itself further down the line and more. And people say, well, we couldn't possibly close this program. Do you know how much money I'm making on it? And we get screwed. But yeah, the guy in Alberta who is quarterbacking the whole thing is talking about how he didn't want a China-style social credit system and he'd much rather have freedom. And so that's why he designed the Alberta wallet the way he did. So the Alberta government can't tell when you're using it and who you're using it for and all this stuff. But code can be changed. if somebody decides, oh, it's real important to
push a change up,
yeah,
and they can't run after a certain version, like you're done.
Yeah, they force an update, and like this update means if somebody tells you you have to wear a mask and you say no, then you don't have access to any of your Alberta care stuff, and sorry about your luck. What do you do then? You know what I mean? Like, it's, but I guess the whole healthcare system would be if, like, I've heard of stories recently, 2025 stories of people being denied organ transplants because they're unvaccinated. And it's like, we know this thing causes heart problems. There was a guy recently, last 3 weeks, who was denied a heart transplant or a heart operation or something like that because he was not vaccinated. This is the United States. But like, how's that? You know what I mean? And so like, I have these concerns that we're already well past the situation where they can say you have to do X, Y, Z, or you're not going to access these things that you've paid for and you should have access to by all rights. But we're just going to say no because you don't tick this box that we've arbitrarily decided is very important now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I hope I'm wrong, but it seems like they can, and if they decide unvaccinated people shouldn't get access to this app, or whatever class of people, we've decided X class of people shouldn't get access to this app because, you know, they're bad or whatever. And the citizens go, yeah, they're bad. Update the app, right? And then the app gets updated and it's all, we're back at square one anyway. I don't have access now, right? So like the whole thing, I'm much more interested in, and not even joking, buying a plot of land with a moat and a greenhouse and turrets because I don't trust any of these people. I think they hold a weapon in the supply chain and they have already proven that they'll use it. And if they want to starve us, man, like it seems like they could, because it seems like if the truck stopped showing up at the grocery stores, that would be really bad and a situation that would be unmanageable in not very long. And especially if they don't want to manage it. Right. But
so what you're saying is we need the like Canada Poly version of Helm's Deep, right?
Yeah. Yes. Although I'm not as good on Lord of the Rings. I wasn't a big Lord of the Rings fan. I watch all the movies, but Helm's Deep Helm's Deep was a big battle, right? No, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a battle. All right.
It's at the fortress. Please read the books, Mark. Audible. 2 times speed.
I know. It's just a little. I love J.R. Like I like Tolkien and I like C.S. Lewis, and they were like competing, and both of their books were about like Christianity and like reflective of what they're seeing, right? And I found C.S. Lewis much more accessible, and I found J.R. Tolkien to be so dense that I just didn't care. I was like, 4 pages of this, man. Like, come on. I just couldn't do it. But maybe I think I maybe read it when I was too young. It was like, no, maybe not. It was like grade 9.
I started reading like Lord of the Rings when I was way too young, and I put it down. I'm like, this is too much. Like, yeah. I came back to it now, and I've started listening to like it all over again. I'm like, okay, I actually enjoy this now because I'm older and I like just more life experience.
Maybe you can see it a bit better. Maybe I should try it again. But yeah, fair enough. Thanks, Max. No.
Okay, Max and I, we were talking quickly about the this digital ID that you're going to have here in Nova Scotia to sign in. Well, again, that's being brought on by the Liberals, and the Liberals only have 2 seats in this province. So hopefully, Two-Tone Timmy, which we can't trust at all, doesn't side with this idea. Because personally, I agree that, certain shit should be on the internet, part of my language. But you know what? If you don't want your kids seeing that stuff, you teach your kids not to go there. And you be a good parent, and you do the best that you can, yep. Right? You can't ask the government to be your parental advisor. Yep. But really, I wanted to bring up something that, if anybody here has heard of Northern Pulp, they're a horrible.
Oh, it's the mill. It's the mill, right?
Oh, yes. Hey, do you know who's in the top bid for the mill and all its assets and all its land?
China.
The government, I assume. I assume it's the government.
No. It's a company called Macer Forestry Inc. And Macer's been in talks to buy all the assets, to put an offer in it, all the assets. And the offer is it's a stalking horse offer, which means that the lowest or the highest bid in the stalking horse time frame, which is now to November, will then create the lowest bid. And if they're the only bidder, then they will get it for that price. Now, if somebody comes and outbids them, Macer will still be able to achieve a $1.3 million payday for, in theory, just putting the bid out.
How do we do
Macer
this? Can we put a bid in?
By Brookfield. I'm going to say this again. Macer is owned by Brookfield.
I'm shocked. Just shocked.
And this deal has been in the talks and cahoots since Mark Carney has had his fingers in Brookfield last. They are looking at bidding for $110 million, all the assets of a mill, and all of its land. The land is just under 500,000 acres.
Wow.
Because Boat Harbor's been sitting there for like
nearly 6
years.
Brookfield is looking to buy some of the most prime forestry land in Nova Scotia for a dirt cheap deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if the government doesn't see $400,000 out of, or $400 million out of the deal, right, which is going to be the cost to clean up Boat Harbor, which Northern Pulp has been dumping its affluent in for 70 years. This is an area that, it's an Indian reserve, and there's a whole bunch of problems when you look into what the natives have been dealing with and trying to ask the government and or Nova Scotia Pulp to clean this up. But
I would definitely recommend looking to Boat Harbor.
A group of fellows at the Brookfield Investments firm were graciously willing to come in and underbid by 3/4 on the assets and say, we'll pay you $110 million. Again, if they don't win the bid and they're outbid, they still get $3.1 million for just facilitating the first bid.
Wow.
Also, Nova Scotia with our woods ban. Our woods ban now has been closed to half of the province, not the full province. So Max is around an area in the middle of the province that will go all the way up to Cape Breton,
which is
right.
Yeah.
So from Max's area all the way up to Cape Breton is now you're allowed in the woods, and everything from Max's area HRM south, you're not allowed in the woods. And what I was saying before is hunting season. Well, starts tomorrow, and there's no way in the world you're going to start telling people to stay out of the woods when it's hunting season, when we can graciously see, like, my lawn is green, man. Yep. My woods are green. I was out there cutting my driveway through my woods, right, today because I got friends coming and they're going to have to, oh my God, drive through my woods to get to my house.
$25,000 fine. That's it.
Right. So I made sure that the driveway was nice and clear because we're bringing in a horse trailer. Oh my God, horses might start a fire with their hooves. Mm-hmm. So we're trying our best down here. We've had rain every night for like 9 nights, or it's been so cool that there's so much dew in the morning. Mm-hmm. Everything is green. There is no reason in the county of Queens that we should be having a no woods ban. In the county of Annapolis, where they have one of the largest fires that we've had to deal with in a long time, yes, and which was started by lightning. And I know some guys up there on the fire crew, and they've been doing their darndest and working their hardest to save the people's houses. They don't care if you got a barn, they don't care if you got a shed, but they care about your house. Mm-hmm. And sadly, there is reports 20 houses have been destroyed. Now, this is 20 houses of a couple thousand. And my heart goes out to everybody that has lost, and there has been lots of loss and all the rest. But these firefighters, man, they're working their heart out, and they're setting up these sprinkler systems that sprinkle over the houses in each house, right? And the whole idea is if the fire gets too close, that amount of water has to evaporate first, which then causes a humidity dome, which then pushes the fire ambers over the house. And it's seeming to save the houses for the very most part. Again, there is 20 houses lost out of a couple of thousand. Yeah. I'm not trying to mitigate that, and I'm not trying to lessen that. My heart goes out to
forest management.
But the forest management down here, well, that's a good thing to say. But I think, like a lot of the provinces, they've cut back, and they didn't think that they needed to manage the forests because they were told by their government that the forests manage themselves, just like the budget, just like any financials. They just manage themselves. So after 12 years in Nova Scotia, 13 this year, actually, we haven't had a forest management group that goes out there and mitigates the dead forest. Also, on Crown land, you being a citizen are not allowed to go out and take dead trees out to fund your own wood fuel for the winter.
Why?
Because you're not allowed to take off Crown land. You have to leave Crown land the way you found it, or with minimal amounts of loss. So,
but if there's a dead tree,
back in the day, people would go down the old woods roads to then take truckloads of dead fallen trees and take them home and burn them in their wood stoves to create heat and have a less of a heat bill. We're not allowed to do that, apparently. And then you have hurricanes that go through for 13 years yearly, and they knock down forests. And then you have people that think glyphosate spraying is great. And then they spray these areas, and they don't understand is when you kill the hardwoods are the natural fire break for the forests. Like, you can't burn a hardwood bush down easily, and they will regenerate and rejuvenate the following year. But when you get into the softwoods, which is what the forest companies want, because that's the lumber and the timber that they sell to build the homes and everything else, you don't build out of hardwoods, you build out of softwoods. Well, they're easily engulfed in flame, and then they burn really hot, and then they help the hardwoods burn. So when you take these stands of hardwoods out of the forests in hundreds of acres, or you kill them with the glyphosate and you don't let them rejuvenate, then you have these problems with the fires being able to propagate harder, quicker, faster, and hotter. And the hotter is the other problem, is because when you get to that heat, they sound like a freight train. I sat down for a little pint with a buddy of mine from Ontario that his cousin lives here, and he's a Coast Guard, search and rescue. He works for the military, and he's also in his private time a volunteer fire department. And this was the first chance that he had a break in 3 weeks. So he got on his Harley, and he went out for a ride with his cousin that was down, and they happened to stop close to me, and we went out for a local pint, and we talked. Right, I'm on search and rescue, and we bonded with the whole idea of what's going on up there. But he even said, he goes, we don't even need a woods ban up there. We don't want people in the woods, but if you want a woods ban, just take where our big fire is, and the rest of the province is fine. We're like I have beautiful green grass. And across the street, my neighbors have beautiful green grass. Yeah. Like there's like the forest, like I've been in my forest. I'm allowed to go because I'm a landowner, but I'm not allowed to bring anybody more than my wife.
That's crazy, man.
It's really hard to build a hunting camp, and it's really hard to get ready for hunting season or trapping season and all the rest. So these are the things that, in the next coming days, it's going to be really challenging. Because
but I think
there's going to be
that's the goal.
People just saying, we're done with this.
Yep, I think that's the goal, though.
Well,
to stop people from hunting.
The goal by the civilians and the citizen is to say, yes, we're done with this. But the goal by the government is to have us uprise and say, we're done with you.
No, the goal for the government is to keep people out of the woods during hunting season, and they can use the fire as a bullshit excuse that'll work on a lot of people, and a lot of people will say, well, it's for everyone's the greater
Mark,
good.
It only works on the people in the cities.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't work on any
but
of us people out here in the rural country.
Yeah,
we know.
But
And we don't care.
no, just stop. No, the government knows this, and they don't care. They want to use that excuse, even though it's bullshit. And even though people are done with it, they're going to use the excuse anyway, even though it's bullshit. That's the point. That's what's going on, right? And so, like,
I agree.
They want to be able to say this is a reason, and it's a quote unquote good reason, and lots of people believe it, and you're unreasonable for not believing it, and that's bullshit. And I even think that they're going to push it further and say you're mentally ill. I don't know if they're going to go as far as trying to maid people for being mentally ill, but it depends on how much of a pain in the ass you make yourself or me. But like they'll say, listen, this guy's crazy. He wants to go in the forest for hunting when there's a fire ban on. This is some pretty mentally ill stuff. You know, they're trying to do it to Trump to undermine his presidency as well. They're saying the things that he's doing are irrational, blah, 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 blah. But that's the point. That's the point. They're trying to use a bullshit excuse. And then when you don't believe, they try and tell us that men can be women. And they say that if you're a person who says that's not true, that you're being unreasonable or you're ignoring the reality of the situation. Nuh-uh, not true. And
No, I'm not ignoring the reality.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so it's that kind of inversion en masse, trying to control people. It's crazy, man. But we got to move on, Noel, but thank you very much. And Bill.
Yeah, I know here in Alberta, they're promoting everybody going in the bush and going hunting.
Oh, yeah?
The only thing that usually slows you down is if there's a forest fire, not so much in Jasper, but on provincial land or crown land or whatever, is spark arresters and this and that. So there might be an ATV ban or something like that. But I've never been banned from going in the bush out here in the West, unless it's right into a fire area. And even then, you'd probably get shanghaied and put to work. On the deadfall stuff, even in the city of Redmonton here, my wife's phoned and bitched a few times, and she's phoned the province too. You don't have to travel very far off into even the park system when we have a big one here. Deadfall all over the place. No real forestry management, which again goes right back to the Roundup spraying. You could easily, as Steve said earlier in that, hire people. You could use provincial prisoners. There used to be work crews going up and down the ditches when I was younger, or even in town. I remember seeing places where they had a provincial jail crew trimming old people's hedges in town. On and on and on. Yep. What's the big difference? Well, here it is, folks, and I think it's something we already know. Our vote has consequences. I think you were saying earlier in your show there today that even school boards, well, like Daniel Smith's up there and she's trying to get these idiots, like, and as soon as I saw what was going on with that, I commented on a few sites. I said, like, enough already, you guys. Like, she's telling you that hardcore pornography or pornographic pictures in kindergarten or grade 1 and 2, come on, let's get real here. But these are the same people, these trustees and everybody else, that the people in that area vote for. I would ask, do a straw poll in your neighbors and ask them how many of them actually research
our elections
who they're voting for trustee. What's that? Our
elections are rigged. Like, they're rigged.
Oh, but I disagree.
There's rigged and then there's ignorance.
They're rigged. They're rigged.
In Alberta here, they're straightening them out. Maybe Ontario.
They're rigged.
Or some other places.
If they're being done.
I'm tell you this flat out, that most people don't give a shit about what they're voting for. Oh, this person looks good. Public school trustee, eeny, meeny, miny, whatever. We got ourselves into this mess. We can get ourselves.
I don't think so. I don't think we got ourselves into this mess. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think that our elections are rigged and have been rigged for a long time.
I mean, there is a rigging that goes on when they
it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
You have somebody who's actually looking out for their people, which again, I don't agree with everything that Daniel Smith does, but I'll tell you what, she's 100% better than Fat Boy Ford or 3/4 of the other premiers in this country, and especially
ours is that high.
Why are they rolling out the digital ID in Alberta first?
What's that?
Why are they rolling out the digital ID in Alberta first?
It's not. It hasn't been rolled out in Alberta. That stuff's been around for God knows how long.
The
all the way
digital
across.
ID? It hasn't. It just got announced. That's what they just announced.
Okay, I want a show of hands. How many of you guys use your tap on your phone or on your?
I don't use my phone.
Use your apps on your phones to buy things, e-transfer, do this, do that. How many of you? Come on. How many of you? Do you use just cash all the time? Do you use cash?
I use a credit card, but
Okay,
I'm not using.
You don't think you don't have a digital footprint?
Credit cards and digital IDs are vastly different. That's a very different argument. They're not the same thing.
Having a secure driver's license, in my mind, or if they give you an option,
it's not a secure driver's license. It's a digital ID.
Whatever, man.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what they announced.
Serious.
I'm serious
I don't
too.
want any more election fraud than we've got. And like
then we
I
should
said,
stop using Dominion.
Then we should stop elections, maybe.
We should stop elections. Well, that sounds weird. That sounds like not a solution.
Well, no, that's right. So you have to.
Maybe also stop importing people.
Yeah, we should stop importing people.
There's the other side of it. Or let's try to secure certain things. Like, not everything that's digital.
You're not going to convince me that a digital ID is not evil.
What's that?
Digital ID is the pathway to 15
already
million
had
cities.
It could be. It could be, but if you're still in position where you actually have a democratic,
we don't have that now.
Well, if that was the case,
we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have
right?
that. We don't have that now.
Right? Like, let's face it,
the immigration system is part and parcel of the election rigging. We don't have a democracy that is.
But I would argue that it's not as far as widespread. Yes, there's certain areas where it happens, right? Look at Ontario.
I have. I've looked at the whole damn country, dude. The elections across the West are rigged. Have you looked at England? Have you looked at the United States? If they can rig England and they can rig the United States and they can rig Australia, they can damn well rig Canada. Yeah. And if they can rig Canada federally, they can do it provincially. It's all rigged.
Then Alberta would still have a new Democrat premier.
It's all rigged.
They wouldn't have gotten, especially somebody like Danielle Smith in. They would either that or you would have had Kenny.
Back to why is Danielle Smith introducing the digital ID? 2030 agenda. Anyway, I'll move on. Thanks, Bill. MC.
Well, okay, so one thing about the whole going into the woods ban is like it brought to light something that I never would have imagined was happening, which is the glyphosate spraying on the forests. Like, who would have thought they were doing that? And then you hear about that and you go, Jesus, like, that's crazy.
Yep.
As far as banking, I don't bank on the phone at all. I do about 70 to 80% of my transactions are cash, and the other 20% are debit
Doesn't
card.
matter.
Just before we get into that, the glyphosate, it's being normalized as well. Like, people, I don't think would tolerate that. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't think people would just turn a blind eye, especially when they're saying, oh no, there's all these fires and it's climate change. Well, it's not. It might have to do with the glyphosate. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like climate change is the obvious thing when we're spraying all this crap all over the freaking forests. Right?
Well,
like,
to kill the plants and turn them dry and brown.
Yeah. Ooh, yes.
And it kills the
hardwood that
hardwood.
causes cancer. Like, sometimes I look out into the field and there's like a pipeline riser out there, and I'm like, I don't want to walk through this freaking crop that's been sprayed. Like,
yeah,
God,
yeah.
Like, but the whole thing. Look, in Canada, the rigging of the elections takes more than one form.
Yes.
At a local level, like school boards and municipal councils and stuff like that, the municipality has a chief administrative officer who's an unelected bureaucrat. The school board has a superintendent who's an unelected bureaucrat. Their job is to lead the elected people by the nose as much as possible and say, well, the Ministry of Education or the Department of Municipal Affairs says we got to do this, guys, so we got to do this. Right. And how I know, and then there's also, in the most sensitive regions, you get your slate of candidates so that if candidate X and candidate Y are interchangeable, and if you get one instead of the other, it doesn't matter. How do I know that the school boards elections in Alberta don't matter? It's because about every couple of 2 or 3 years, one one trustee gets elected who wants accountability and starts to make waves, and what happens? That council, that school board kicks them out. Like that. So they're all corrupt. It's all fake.
Lisa, in Pickering, same thing. I think it's Pickering.
And the local elected people, all the school board trustees and all of the municipal councilors, their role is to sit there and put a rubber stamp on everything and make it look legitimate. That's all it is, Bill. It's 100%. All
100%. Absolutely spot on. And further, the ETFO, the Elementary Teacher Federation of Ontario, is the most prolific election machine in the country. They get 80% of their candidates elected. They back them. They give them support. It's absolutely crazy. And that's just one aspect. The advertisers, we're supposed to have the Election Act, which prevents advertisers from saying no to candidates for advertising. They said no to Faith Goldie. They said no to other people. The blatant censorship. I have a Twitter account that they shut off in the middle of the election. They just turned me off. Rigged doesn't even begin to describe it. It's so rigged. It's so obvious. It's just right out.
OCDSB in Ottawa, Carleton, District School Board. Look, Rebel. Look, CTV. Look, even MSM people covering it. It's just sick what they're doing. It's sick, and that's right here in Ottawa, man. I've been watching it for like 20 years. Sick, brother. I'm with you. I'm so choked.
Yeah.
And in Ontario, it sounds like they're a lot more overt about it. I think here they have to be quieter about it because people wouldn't like hearing that stuff. But it's what it is.
Yeah. Ron's saying that he was debanked for being representative for PPC. And I mean, like, I saw people being debanked for things like that as well. Man, there are so many.
Yeah, and they moved the bank manager when they did it. She was a great woman. She loved me. She loved what we were doing, and they up and moved her.
Oh man, that's terrible, right? And it's just, and the retribution as well. Like the PPC candidate in Guelph had his wife she was a teacher. She got fired the same week the election happened in 21. So like the election was called. He was a candidate for the PPC. She got fired. So that's gonna screw your family, right? Like, how does that? So like, and these are all of these things are just different ways to rig an election in a way that is. Above board's not right, but like maybe it's not to the letter of the law. This is, if you do this, you're rigging an election. But all of these cumulative things change the outcome, and that's terrible. And we should.
That's 5,000 cuts.
Yeah. Yes. Right. And we shouldn't have to tolerate this. And we should be able to hold our elected officials accountable. We should be able to remove a bureaucracy that works against us. And it's bonkers, man.
That's right.
Bonkers.
That's right, Mark. Case in point. Like I came into my relationship with my wife and stuff, and I had to drive up on the school lawn with my old 4Runner and stop a bunch of bullying that was happened to my stepdaughter.
Yeah.
I did everything possibly I could. I followed every single rule until I drove up with my truck and then basically told these people that is not smart for your health. And then it finally stopped. And I didn't threaten them. I just said, four-wheel up on their lawn through the high school, stopped, got out, and I said, this is not going to be a good future for your health if you do not stop this.
Makes sense.
And you know what? I backed up, I peeled off the lawn, and nobody came to my door or anything. Yeah. You know why? Because they knew they were horribly wrong, man. And the things and the torture that they put through other kids from the bullying and shit, bragging about how they're so anti-bully. Okay, so imagine me. Imagine how many other thousands of families and people are just so choked at this moment. And this is going back 15 years, my friend.
I hear you, man. I hear you. MC, and then I got to call it. We're already 10 minutes over, so I didn't even realize. MC.
Yeah, having said all that stuff about the elections and stuff like that, I still got to add that we are letting way too many people vote. Being 18 and born here is not enough to make you qualified to vote. And there's got to be some kind of system we can put in to get some merit or something like that, where someone has done something that makes them worthy of being able to vote.
I'm sure we could do something. I'm sure we could. But yeah, at this point in time, if you suggest that, you are literally that guy with the mustache and who liked painting, right? And it's just like, holy smoke. So
yes.
With that, we have to end the show. So thanks everybody for watching, and thanks everybody for hanging out in here. I'll end the stream and then I'll come back to the green room. So don't go away yet. So thanks for watching on the stream, and we will catch you next week. And stop recording.